everyone to another Univirtual Experience event. This is a partnership project between the Virtual World Society and Educators in VR to share and disrupt education through the use of virtual reality platforms. It's a month-long conference, and today we have this wonderful experience with Georgian College and the Indigenous studies, as well as Michael from Gold Lotus about languages. We'll hear more about that in just a moment. But before we start, I want to acknowledge our sponsors and supporters who allow us to operate at this level. Donna McTaggart of Let's Meet in VR, who is fundamental to our operations. She's our event manager and director for this whole Univirtual Experience. And her company, Let's Meet in VR, is one of the most experienced at putting on VR events. So feel free to get in touch with her if you have any needs like that. Frame VR, LearnBright, Waking Dream, LBX Immersive, and our volunteers and videographers, namely Fox, Al, Tony, and Brent, who've been doing amazing work for 2.5 weeks. We have 10 days left, and Tony Cube Studios for assisting, capturing, and organizing a lot of our data. So having said that, I'm very excited about this event today. And over to you, Rob and or Michael, as you see fit. Take it away. Lovely. And just a note, Olma, also for the comfort of the audio in this experience, I may or may not be switching mics on and off. You're able to activate your mic with the escape. So if you're in 2D, press the escape button, and then on the right-hand side, you see the microphone. You can switch it on and off. And please, when you're not speaking, if you can remember to mute yourself, that should help us. The last thing is, please, if you don't already have headphones in, please, can you plug in headphones? And we'll try and manage the sound as best we can. Thank you. Okay, Ernestine.
Okay. Adi bonjour. Par Indigenous cause. Shinig Ming Don Jabbar. Kendo dem. Chimi Gwach. Or Jem Nado. Is young Mondas Tigistas. Questionang. Wena. Jito young you. Ichgagi means young Bamadsiwin. Can I go wenching? Jito marking. Jito young. Ichgam Scott me queer. Young medium. Sewin. Tigok. Wawaskonean. Keen. Minwa. As our keen. Miigwech Gandanok. Tigok. Wawaskonean. Oh, Westing out, Banashing out, going out, Middle Shansa. Meanwhile, you can down our wall. Shit goes what. Send Mark Mishon Sananik, Nok Misnanik. Adma Gewat. Ani Wiat get going warm tea. Skike, Wawid warning. Ocaning. Augurai oxygic. Take the oxygic. Nardent magic. Meanwhile, you have we skin magic. Questioning Panaj we don't that young. How miigwech. Thank you, Creator, for giving us this new day, us to use it in a good way. We thank you for our life, all the good things we receive, us to use. We thank Mother Earth for all she provides for our sustenance, breath, our food. We thank the trees, the flowers, the plants, and our medicines. We give thanks to the water. We also give thanks to the animals, the birds, the fish, and the insects, for they know their purpose and also help us. We ask our grandmothers and our grandfathers to be with us as we stand here today around this medicine wheel. Pity on those who have gone before us, who have gone on to the spirit world. And for those who are sick, for those who have anxiety, stress, for those who are poor, and for those who grieve. We thank the Creator for giving us love and also help us all stand strong every day. What I ask the Creator for us, miigwech, 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 miigwech. Oh, thank you.
Michele? I was going to say, Michele, would you like to take it from here?
Thank you. Just trying to. Welcome, everybody. Anine Bojo, Michele O'Brien, Indigenous cause. Jonya Benesse Kwe is my spirit name. I'd like to welcome everybody here today. And this is just an amazing happening for our Anishinaabemowin and program development program to be able to have this environment to share with the students and others, to learn the language and just to come to a place of peace. I just find it very peaceful being in here. Angie, a faculty member of ours, is going to give a short teaching on the medicine wheel for you. Angie?
Angie, you are unmuted, so you should be good.
It seems we're not getting any input from Angie at the moment. It's unfortunate. I'm not sure. Our side is clear. So, there we go. We're getting some input from you, Angie.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Now we can.
Can you hear me now?
Yes.
I don't know. So Anine Bojo, Shkigishgat Kwandijnakas. It's New Day Woman. I was honored with that spirit name from Noak Miss Ernestine. I'm going to teach you a little bit about the medicine wheel for yous that don't know. The medicine wheel teaching contains the values and principles for how Indigenous people are to conduct themselves in order to reach a good life. There are many versions of the medicine wheel teachings, depending where you reside. We see the medicine wheel as our Creator's gift and a reminder that everything flows in a circle. We believe our lives continue on and on. Our spirits live forever on earth and onto the spirit world. The four directions, state of being, the four sacred medicines, the four seasons, the elements, and the four stages of life. For the Anishinaabeg people, the colors are yellow, east, Wabanum. Red, the south, is Jaunum. The black, the west, is Epishamug. The white is the north, and we call that Giwedan. The medicine wheel reminds us that every in the quadrants here that you see, the 4 colors which people on Mother Earth. We have the 4 seasons, the spring, summer, fall, and the winter. The 4 stages of life from infancy, youth, adult. The 4 states of being, which is your physical, mental, spiritual, and emotional. The 4 medicines that we use are sage, cedar, grass, and tobacco. There are sacred medicines. We also have the 4 fire, earth, water, and the air. If any of these 4 quadrants are off and not being nurtured, we become off balance. So this is what we strive to live in a good life, which we call Minol B'Madzawin. More stories and depictions of this medicine wheel can be shared, but this is the short version of my understanding and my
That's great. Miigwech, Angie. Miigwech, Nokomis. Thank you so much. Chi-miigwech. So I just wanted to let our guests know just a little bit how this beautiful world came to be. And I just have to, and it could, because it's everything has happened in our virtual world in a short time. Rob, our Mercer at Georgian College, contacted me last spring and said, have you ever thought about teaching the language in virtual reality? And I was like, no. Not being a gamer growing up, I was just thinking, no, I don't want to do that. But then I thought, you know what? This is not about me. This is about our and I thought, oh, this would be just amazing to teach to a new generation of learners. And I thought, yes, I'm going to meet with Rob. And I'm so happy that I did. I cannot tell you. So Rob started working away in AltspaceVR, and he created us a house in there. And it has the language in there in written form. And then he introduced us to Daniel from BitSpace about creating this beautiful, beautiful environment in EngageVR. And they just took it from there. But the most wonderful thing about this environment is that it has recordings in here of our Nokomis and our faculty. So it is something that we'll always have. And that's what makes it so special. And yeah, and then we introduced the students to this to the environment in AltSpace just after reading week, so in October. And we sent them, Indigenous Services sent them headsets so that they could get in and experience it to the best capacity that they could. And then Angie took over, and Angie started teaching them how to get in and in language in the home, which was a course that she was teaching them. Angie, did you want to talk a little bit about that experience with the students and yourself and going in the first time and so on?
be good. Thank you. Can you hear me right now?
Yes.
So the students were entering into the VR, into the language home that Rob had made, and a lot of the items were already itemized. So the students, if they seen a question mark above any of the items, they could hit that and the word would come up. So that was the first step in it. But what we were able to do was go in and conduct classes in there. We'd meet at the fire occasionally, and we would chit chat about what we just learned. There is a basketball court there, And it was really amazing that the boys, they handled the headset and the toggles pretty well. And so they were picking up the baskets and throwing them into the basketball. So that was a lesson in itself, because I taught them the words to pick up the, to throw the ball, to throw it into the hoop. So they learned all the words surrounding basketball.
It seems that Angie's connection may not be stable.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, we hear you again now.
Okay,
Yeah.
good. So, so the students were interacting with each other and being able to socialize with each other, and that was really something spectacular to see. So while we're in language house, I was able to do like a scavenger hunt for them. So it was all done in language. I would give them clues, they would find the item, and it was just kind of a game that we played. It was something, what is this, they call it, and so they would find something and ask students in the language what it could be. So it was quite educational, quite fun, and very interactive. So thank you, Rob, and thank you for the whole team that brought us into this new realm of learning and teaching. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I'm enjoying every part of it, and who knows what's up next. But Miigwech, Michele, back to you.
Thank you, Daniel. No, Chris, can you hear me?
Yes.
Ernestine? Yes. So, Ernestine, what is your experience?
Yes.
What is your experience of being in a
Can
virtual
you hear
environment?
me? Can you hear?
Yes.
Hear
Yes,
me?
I can hear you. Yep.
Okay, because
What
it
is
just
you-
went off.
Okay, what is your experience of being in a virtual environment? Since last July, for your whole life, and you have done really well.
Well, you're just telling everybody how I feel already.
No, I would like
No,
to
I think
know.
no, I'm sorry. I think this is a really wonderful experience. This able to teach the language this way. I'm really happy to be part of this. I just get a laugh out of what I look like on these on my avatar people. And, yes, I think it's lots of fun. I'm really enjoying participating in it. And, just, you know, I'm happy to be of some help in the language for this. And and I thank all of you for helping me out every time I phone, say I can't do this, I can't do that. Get all the help that I need. So it's for that.
Well,
To see everybody there.
Miigwech, Ernestine, I can't tell you what it means. And for those that are our invited guests today, Ernestine now is an avatar in 3 virtual environments: AltSpace, iLearn, and Engage. And Ernestine, can I tell them how old you are?
I'm not looking at the noteness that's standing in your circle there.
Okay.
I don't
Ernest,
look anything like
82.
that.
So I don't know if there's that many people out there at Ernestine's age that can say that they are an avatar in 3 virtual environments. So we're very proud of her. And
You can tell them how old I am.
I guess 82.
Wow.
Okay.
Fantastic. Congratulations.
So, and every time that it
Oh.
involves student learning or language, Ernest never says no. She always says need. And so she is the
Oh,
heart of us, believe me.
Mm.
And so just a little bit over to Rob, because Rob is just amazing. He really is. He's always there for us. And he started us off on this adventure, and he built us a beautiful environment in AltSpace first. So, Rob, did you want to talk to people about developing the AltSpace environment?
Sure. Hi, everybody. I'm Rob Tario. I'm the immersive technology lead at Georgian College. And I, I guess a year and a half, 2 years ago, I attended an event by Michael McDonald, Golden Lotus, who's standing over there. And he was teaching language in a cafe. And it struck me that I think we need a couple people to mute themselves, if you don't mind, so we don't get the echo. It struck me that, and I'm not a language teacher, but it struck me that learning language context is so important. So if you want to learn to have a conversation in a cafe, why not do it in a cafe? You can do that with immersive virtual reality, which is really incredible. So I'd been in AltspaceVR for some time, and I was developing some world building skills. Reached out to Michele and the others in our Indigenous Studies program, and and asked, "What do you think about uh, running part of your classes in a virtual world? And I can build a house for you." And the idea was AltSpace would be kind of a temporary space. So I built this house on a piece of land, and as Angie mentioned earlier, the items in the house are labeled with information buttons, and you click on them, and you can see the Anishinaabe word and the English word. But simultaneously, we're building this space, and we're building some other spaces. One is going to be a community. There's going to be a powwow. There's going to be an environment land where students can walk through the forest and look at birds and animals together. And anyway, so it was the inspiration I got from Michael to explore this idea of context-based learning, which is valuable not just in languages but in a whole host of different um, learnings. And so that's how we got started. And I'll just do as well that with Indigenous studies, we started with a small cohort of about 10 students, and 7 of them really loved being in the headset and the sense of presence that you get when you're face to face with other students. You really get on PC. But because in social virtual reality platforms like this, when your avatar is moving and your body isn't, a conflict, some people motion sickness. So 3 were on their PC, 7 were on their headset. One of them was experienced nausea in the headset, but said, "I love it so much. I love the feeling of presence and being with other students so much that I'm just going to work my way through it." The other really important thing about virtual environments like this, in my view, that outside of classes, students can come in and socialize in a more intimate way with one another than they would otherwise through a video conference. And I think that's so necessary to the current pandemic, and but hopefully it'll continue for years to come. So yeah, maybe Michael could say a few words, because he's been the inspiration in language learning and does host a large, very, very large number of language learning events.
Yeah, thanks, Rob. I'm just going to breeze past Daniel and his beautiful T-shirt. Hopefully, he's going to be selling them at some point soon, because I definitely want one, and I know other people will. And can everybody hear me clearly before I continue babbling on the next 20 minutes?
Yes, loud and clear.
I won't talk that much, because it's all about this team and what they created here. But I just want to kind of go a step back, and I know this is being recorded, and I'm pretty sure that in the long distant future, people are going to be watching back at this video on YouTube or whatever platform it's going to be hosted on at the time. And I wanted to Get the fact that there are any kind of technical glitches, maybe a few people have needed to unmute themselves, then mute. Forget that, okay? The fact is, this is like a representation of what happened on March the 10th, 1876, when Alexander Graham Bell ended up calling his assistant, Mr. Watson, and said, "Hello, Mr. Watson, can I come here? I need to see you," or something along those lines. The glitchiness wasn't important. It was what actually happened on that day. So, you know,
Lost your audio there for a minute, Michael.
okay, what's happening today is really laying the foundations for incredibly vivid and realistic language learning experience that not only is connected to the language, but also the beautiful cultural heritage that these people belong to, which, you know, unfortunately is being lost to the big languages like English, French, Spanish, Chinese as well. But, you know, I think this really is hopefully a blueprint for how we could preserve Indigenous languages around the world. But Rob, I can see here, before maybe you would take a quick tour, this medicine wheel then, so they spoke about the four kind of components to this, but if we just walk over here in front of Daniel, we've got this kind of audio button here. Do you want to explain to us, or have one of your colleagues explain to us what this is about?
Sure. So, I mean, this is helpful during classes, but also when students are here between classes. These are audio recordings of the Anishinaabe word for the medicine wheel. And if you go, you know, in a couple of minutes, we'll just allow people to go walk around through the house. You'll see audio files all over the place. And when you click on them, you'll hear the audio file of the Anishinaabe word, and you're the only one who will hear it, which is quite a unique feature. Um, and so there are three people who recorded the audio, if I recall. Ernestine was one of them, and Angie, and remind me the other gentleman.
Mashkeke Wawidwan.
That's who it was. One of our faculty. Yeah, so there's an audio file. There are also interactable objects as well, and we know that you know, context is important for memory retention. When you add interactables, that raises the level of memory retention for language. So there are vegetables and fruits that you can pick up. There's a shovel over there that you can pick up, and so this is a place where students can come between classes just to reinforce their learning and to have conversations.
Wow, amazing. What teaching is Indigenous language and about the culture and the heritage? How does that work before you got your teeth into VR? I mean, what was the modality? How was that delivered?
I think Angie can speak to that. I'll just unmute you, Angie.
Is unmuted.
Yeah, Angie, if there was something you did last time to get your audio to activate, try that again. You might want to wonder, like just something like coughing to there you go.
Oh, you can hear me now, okay. Well, okay, do you want to repeat the question again? Sorry.
Yeah, sure, no problem. So obviously what we're seeing now in virtual reality is wonderful, but what did this kind of teaching and education look like before you even considered VR? How did you deliver this education?
Okay, so typically language and culture go hand in hand. You need to do both of them in order to learn the language properly. So that was one of the components that we were missing because we were teaching online. We weren't able to go out into the community and do the things that we wanted to do, like going to our park that we have here. And we do medicine walks and we do walks with trees. I taught the students how to snare rabbits. So just a lot of cultural components that we were missing. So that was kind of something that when the VR came into light, I thought, well, this can surely help with the students and giving them a little bit more to see culturally what we can do, although they won't have the hands-on that we typically would have. But this was a better alternative for them to go ahead and learn things online. And it turned out wonderfully because the students are just loving it. They'll go in on their own, and it's a teaching tool for them to be able to go in at any time and kind of solidify what they've learned language wise in the community. So I think
Sure. The old expression, if life serves you lemons, you make lemonade out of it, or something like that. And I think that's exactly what you've done. We're living in difficult times, obviously, around the world, but you have really taken the situation by both hands and built something amazing here. And I must say, when we were gathered round at the very beginning of this medicine wheel, and you were kind of, Ernestine was kind of taking us through this beautiful cultural journey with her language, it really was actually quite moving, like in the same way as like a few years ago when I was in Japan. Angie, if you could just mute yourself for 2 seconds, we could avoid some of the feedback. Well, thank you very much. In Japan, when I went there and I went to a tea ceremony, and it was just amazing to connect with real people who do this as part of their culture, and generations have done it. And I had the same feeling today, like 2 years passed since I first had that experience. But again, I got it today because I'm surrounded and connected to people, and I'm sure other people were the same. They're actually living and breathing this knowledge, this culture, this history, real on a real level, and they brought that into this VR experience today. So personally, I found it very, very moving. I'm going to hand the mic over in a moment to Daniel or Rob if they want to kind of take us around. But I guess it's worth saying as well that we've got a number of attendees here today, and I'm sure there might be questions. If anybody does have a question at any point, maybe just wave your hands up and down like that. We'll catch you. We might not be able to get to you immediately, but we'll certainly remember you, or you can unmute yourself. Daniel, does that sound okay?
Yeah, that sounds absolutely fine. I'd also like to say thank you on behalf of Educators in VR and the Virtual World Society for Rob and Michael for you sharing this experience with us as part of the Univirtual experience. I was just thinking as we were talking, if we were doing this just online, in inverted commas, just online, this would probably be a PowerPoint presentation of some kind, or we would be showing a YouTube video. But if you consider this space is the presentation, this space, this experience is that PowerPoint presentation translated into a 3D experience. That's what I love about it. And as we go around this environment, I think Rob will be inviting us to walk around the space and go inside. I challenge you to click these audio buttons 4 or 5 times and really listen carefully, even just to one word. Try and learn to pronounce at least one of these words and the meaning associated with them, whether that's medicine wheel or the fence over there. But really listen again and again. When you play that audio, it only plays for you. And that is such a powerful way of learning a language. When you're standing by a fence and you hear the language's pronunciation of that word, it's a fantastic way of learning it. The only other thing I would say,
Lost audio there, Daniel, if you're talking.
okay, in the back.
Yes, you are.
Thank you very much. It would be lovely to have 1 or 2 phrases to go along with the word. So if I'm looking at medicine wheel, I can have the audio just for medicine wheel and then that same audio in 1 or 2 phrases, because I think that's always context. That would be wonderful. So I'm really excited to go and see and watch people interact with this experience, and then feedback. And of course, if you have questions, ask questions as well.
Absolutely. Rob, do we want to let them loose?
Yeah, I think rather than giving people a tour, 'cause, avatars will just end up running into one another. Just everyone feel free to walk around. There is limitations to how far you can go. If you try to go out to the dock, for example, you'll just end up getting respawned back onto the patio. So the plan is to take down those barriers eventually, so you can take a walk in the woods. But feel free to go through the house, look at the objects that you see in the house. There are some interactable objects. Feel free to grab those. If you're in PC, I believe you just point with your mouse at the audio file and right click on the mouse, if I'm not mistaken. And of course, if you're in a VR headset, you just point and pull the trigger.
Lovely. Let's go and explore.
All right.
Yeah. And feel free to unmute yourselves if you want to have conversations in the house and elsewhere.
Hi. If we unmute, can everybody hear us, or is it only the person we're talking to?
I think everyone can hear you, but I'm just trying to switch it to 3D audio so that it's just the people close.
Yeah, so everybody should now be on local audio, which means if you're far away, you don't have to hear everyone. But if you want to talk to somebody, you need to go close.
This is very interesting. Amazing.
You look rather dangerous with that shovel in your hand.
Yeah, great.
What about the 3D pen? Should we activate that? Because it would be great to even kind of get some of the spelling, I don't know, attributed to some of this audio.
I would recommend we do that, but only on a per user basis. If you allow everybody to draw paint, that can increase the load. And for me, the load is already quite high. So by all means, you demonstrate it.
The big Jesus. A nug.
Nabagan.
Makwa.
The Kistigan. Jiba Kwek Kick. Mshiman. Dodo Shabo. Gen Wakwag Pubwin.
Okay, everyone. If you've had a bit of a look around, I invite you to come back together around to share your experiences and to have any questions answered as well, please. Wonderful. Okay. Michael and Rob. Michael?
We've got to don't be shy, people. Come on. You clicked some buttons. I saw you picking stuff up over there. I know you. Whoever ate that banana, I'm coming for you. I'm going to be sending you to the bill because that's some quality fruit over there. So, right, I'm going to come to the man right in front of me, Dr. Daniel T. Could you introduce yourself? Are you part of Georgian College as well?
I am, yeah. Can everyone hear me okay?
Yes.
Yeah, I've been with Indigenous Studies now for about 7 years or so. I usually teach a couple of courses. I teach the treaties course, and I teach the history of the language course, which usually runs in fall, but I think is going to run in winter this semester. So this is very exciting. It's a great opportunity, and really looking forward to using this with my students.
Absolutely. Well, thanks, Dr. Daniel. And I want to go to somebody who is not part of Georgian College, who really wants to feedback what they think about this space, maybe. So yes, Rami's waving his hand. He's a Colombian in New Jersey. I learned that recently. Rami, do you want to unmute yourself and maybe tell us what you think about this space and if you clicked on any of the audio items?
Hey, so if I may interrupt real quickly, it's set up in 3D audio right now, so if people that are far away, they can't hear you very well.
I'll change that setting. Thank you.
Okay. Rami,
I barely heard what you said. I'm sorry.
Okay, let me repeat. So what do you think about the space?
Oh, this place is wonderful. I don't know if everyone can hear me. I think this is a very good idea to teach people a new language. I speak Spanish and I speak English. I teach both languages to people who want to learn. I teach that person to person on videos, or I mean like Zoom kind of things, or the phone, something like that. And I think this is a great idea to use it because people can come here to the place and learn and repeat and repeat and repeat until the word is in their mind, and then they can start making conversation and everything. It's a great idea. I think the place is nice, beautiful. Congratulations to anyone who is involved in it.
Excellent.
Thank you.
Great point. The repetitive kind of thing that you can do. The repetition is the word that I'm looking for, and the repetition of being able to listen again and again to the words and revisit this place effectively 24/7 is, of course, one of its strengths. And also, when we think about language learning and language teaching, the multimodality, and it's something that Daniel touched on earlier. The kind of the multimodality of being able to, in one space, get some kind of audio, get some visual, get some maybe written text as well, and the interactivity. That's something that I don't think is possible anywhere else, possibly only in the physical realm. But in VR, you can do it at, much with much less traction. You could get anyone anywhere in the way of doing it. I have a question for, where is she? Now, I've got a question for Ernestine because I really want to understand more about this Indigenous language in particular, and what about how endangered is it? Is it endangered? What's the current situation of this language? And let's shed some light on what we can do to try to make sure these beautiful languages aren't lost.
Is he talking to me?
I am. So it's about
You're unmuted, Angela. You're good to go.
Or anybody. How many speakers?
Who am I speaking to? Emmett?
I thought
You can speak to all of us. It was Michael asking the question.
how is the Indigenous? Well, they're actually very right now. We're losing our fluent speakers. Just in the past 6 months, we lost 4 in our community, and we're one of the higher speaking fluent speakers community around. It is quite dangerous, and we need to do as much as we can to preserve this language and keep it going. And this is part of it right here, what we're seeing.
I caught most of that,
Oh,
Angie. Did you tell us how many speakers are left? Did you say 4?
4, we lost 4 of them in the last 6 months in our own community. They were fluent speakers. So, I mean, it is quite dangerous to see that we're losing so many of them, and quite young actually. And it has a lot to do with health-wise, diabetes, stroke, and yeah, it's this. What we're doing right now is something that we're going to be able.
Just lost. I've lost audio on you there, Angie, but we get the health effects afflicting this community, of course, kind of resulting in more people dying at a younger age, and therefore we're losing more and more of these effectively native speakers of Indigenous language. So if anybody is out there and
Yeah.
you know, doesn't believe that this isn't part of the kind of, you know, the important jigsaw of the planet, forget this particular region of the world. This is part of the tapestry about human history. This really does underline the importance of places like this to hopefully keep it going and spread the word and get people inspired to keep this going. We're going to have to wrap up in a few minutes, but what Daniel's doing over here is really great, and we're going to hand the mic over to Georgian in a moment. Daniel, tell us what you're doing here with the sticky notes. You're muted at the moment, Daniel. If you could then unmute yourself and tell us what's going on with the sticky notes.
Yeah, sorry, I forgot to unmute myself. This is another very useful way that you can add to the multimodality of language. So we have the object in front of us, then we have the audio button to click it, and then we can use these post-it notes to write, and we can hide them as well, right? If you don't want people to see them, first you turn it away. They have to try to remember themselves, and then when they're practicing, you might want the memory, or you have it up first, the first time round. You can share them, and I think that's locked. You can unlock that. So yeah, you can create more than one version of it. Let me see. I can do that again. Create. So yeah, you can pass them around to other people who are trying to learn that, or you could do a quiz. You know, Robert, try and find the medicine wheel, and maybe who've we got? Kenneth Brown. It's your turn to find. Yeah, we got Rami. You find the fire. So that's another way you can do it. And then, of course, Michael, a recent feature that's been added is the 3D pen, which is fantastic because we can now, I'm trying to do this back to front.
A man of many talents.
There you go. You can actually draw in 3D. Let me see. And then, is it that way around? That last one was the wrong way around. There you go. But you can draw, and students can draw as well. You can draw in different colors. You can underline it. You can add like animations, smoke, if you wanted to. These kind of things really add to the interaction. Like you said, adds another mode, and just generally stimulates the senses to absorb languages through as many channels as possible, to hear it, to see it, to read it, to interact with it. All of this is proven, and this is kind of the holy grail in language. There's a whole school of language learning called immersive language learning. This is actually where you travel to the culture, you immerse yourself in a family, and you spend a week or so with them in their culture and in their day-to-day routines. This is a different take on immersive language learning. So one of the drawbacks of real-world immersive language learning is you have to travel to the country. You have to be very brave and put yourself in a situation for extended periods of time where you might be outside your comfort zone. Whereas here, if this model is now available to everybody, you can have videos running, you can have posters and presentations up, you can have games to learn the language. You can time yourself how quickly you can run around the house and identify all the objects. You could have Engage also allows you to do a quiz, these kind of things. So the options are greatly increased when you bring learning to this kind of environment and this kind of medium.
Absolutely. Yeah. Agree more. We're going to hand the mic back for the last 2 minutes to Rob, Michele, Angie, whoever wants to take on the mic and close out this session, and then or certainly from Georgian's perspective, and then Daniel, I think, will then close out for the this from an education VR perspective. Rob, over to you.
Sure. Briefly, when I met with the Indigenous Studies faculty, we came to an agreement that when we would build worlds and environments like this, that we would make it open source. So the plan is eventually at some point in the coming year or so to make this available for other Indigenous groups who want to use it for language learning. And we can simply swap out the audio files for other languages. But at some point, we might just make it open source for any language learning, because I think it's important to for people in the language learning environment to be able to share worlds in the different platforms, so that if you want to work on your conversational skills at an airport, let's go to an airport. At a cafe, right. Let's go to a cafe, museum, and so on. So really excited about that.
That's exactly the structure of phrase books. When you learn a language, and especially if you're going there on holiday or a visit, you get the phrase book, and it starts at the airport, then the taxi, then the hotel reception, then the museum, kind of the typical things you're going to experience. You could recreate that so wonderfully. And I love the model you're using, Rob, whereby you can just switch out the audio files to any language and any written input to any language, and then one module can be used for learning any language in theory. It's a great approach. Yeah.
Well, Michele, did you have any closing comments?
I just want to say Chimigwich, everyone, for coming. It's just been a truly amazing experience that we can offer just our students, but our faculty and our community and others to come. And I'm smiling.
Wonderful.
Just listen, we have to take a souvenir. If you go to Paris, you're going to walk home. You're going to go home with a fridge magnet of the Eiffel Tower. If you come to Georgian College, Indigenous House, we need to go home with a souvenir in our pockets. Say that again, Michele. That particular expression you just said.
Okay, it's Chimigwich. Chimigwich.
Chimigwich. What does it mean? What does it mean?
It means thank you very much.
Chimigwich.
Chimigwich. Chimigwich.
Chimigwich. Daniel, over to you. Unless Angie wants to say anything, or Ernestine, we wouldn't want to overlook those two fantastic ladies. Otherwise, we're going to close out.
Okay. Well, thank you, Chimigwich Michael. Michele, thank you. Angie, Ernestine, Rob, and Dr. Daniel, and anyone else who was involved in creating this experience. I think you are leading the way. This is a very unique thing you've achieved here, and sharing it with other people is inspiring. I'm sure I'm going to go away and think about this more. I was a language teacher for many years, and if I weren't doing something else, this is exactly what I would be doing, Rob, and you've beaten us all to it. Thank you for sharing this. And with that, we're going to bring this session to an end, but it won't be the last time. I'm sure, Rob, we want to stay in touch with your development as this project progresses. So let's just, find a time to have another event somewhere down the line. In the meantime, this has been another Univirtual Experience event, a partnership between the Virtual World Society and Educators in VR. And I want to say a big thank you to Georgian College and to Michael, to our sponsors, and to our filming team. Today it is Tony Cubed of Tony Cubed Studios, and we're going to end the recording there. And that's it. Thank you very much. If you would like to stay, feel free to. I know I myself have to leave and Michael has to leave. We're going to another event. Please have a look at our website, educatorsinvr.com, for the calendar of events. We have 10 more days.